Today, I'd like to share with you the best way to kill an idea. Now, that might sound like a strange thing to want to share, but in my experience, if we can start to recognize how we do this particular thing, we open ourselves up to being able to be much, much more creative. So, this particular way of killing an idea is very often a defensive move. It's a way that we can actually keep ourselves feeling safe because we stick with what's familiar. The way we do it is very simple. We take an idea, it could be something that somebody else has suggested, something we read, something we see on TV, and we try and take that thing and put it into our existing way of seeing the world. Rather than allowing it to arrive with us and affect us in some way, we just label it. Oh, that's mindfulness. I know what mindfulness is. Now I don't actually have to engage with it really because I put this name onto it, this shape onto it that I already know, and it's over there, mindfulness over there, for example. And we do this all over the place. We do this with personal development ideas or experiences like that, like mindfulness, nervous system regulation, which is something I'm fascinated with, polyvagal theory, which is part of that. Oh, I know what that is, so I don't need to think about it. We do it with people. Oh, don't tell me about feminism or any other thing that you're interested in. I know what it is. I don't actually have to engage with it. Now, there is a valid reason for doing it, which I've already mentioned, which is protection. Sometimes we need to do that so that we don't actually engage with how painful something can be or how challenging it can be. The problem arises, however, if we are doing it automatically again and again and again with everything that we encounter. So, how do we actually deal with this? Well, obviously, as with all these things, the first place is to become aware that we're doing it. Oh, have I just closed that idea, that person, that whole area of life down by labeling it, naming it, shutting it down, tidying it away into something I already know? If we become aware of it, then we don't actually have to do anything. We can just notice it. And that, by its very experience, the noticing that we've done that labeling process, that frees us up to have a wider perspective. We kind of have to be somebody who's bigger than that narrow viewpoint in order to be able to notice that we've labeled. So that awareness is key to enable us to do that. And the other aspect which helps enormously with this is to realize that we have to engage with a bit of messiness. The wonderful thing about fitting things into our existing framework is that we create a sense of certainty. We think we know exactly where we are. Now, sometimes we may be, or sometimes we need that certainty just to help us feel safe enough for that period of time. But it doesn't allow us to have enough space for that real, true creative mind to actually spring forth within us. We need to allow some uncertainty to actually have that access to that creative mind. So the reason this is so important is because that creative mind is where all of our inspiration, our best ideas come from, and our true self-esteem, not the self-esteem that comes from the kind of intellectual superiority that we can have when we already know that idea. We know how it works, that false sense of knowledge. This is how you access your creativity, to be in touch with that uncertainty and to be able to use that labeling and the noticing of that labeling to allow you to use that uncertainty to let there be space for your creative mind.